Hola Madridistas, welcome back to another episode of Let's Be Real podcast. We have a very special episode today to discuss the rise of a superstar, from basically out of nowhere, in my opinion. Others would say that, he has been on the radar of multiple, European juggernauts for the past couple of years, but for me, he is a relatively unknown, unknown piece of what's the what's the what's the interference?
It's
Yeah,
gone. It's
It's a
gone.
it's a tram. It's a tram. Sorry, it's a tram
it's
on
it's
my
a
side.
trend. Farooq is flexing. He's living in Milan, unfortunately, but yeah, man. I hope Milan survives after he leaves. But yeah, man. Arda Guler for me is a relatively unknown quantity, but he is someone like just from the surface you can tell that he is someone with incredible potential. Maturity has some significant traits of leadership that I've noticed from what the Fenerbahce fans have been saying, and also some of the clips where he's not your typical number 10 who is a little shy, who is a little, introverted, if I must say,
Yeah.
similar to your guys like Ozil, but Arda seems like a little more outspoken. All in all, very, very good signs for someone who is barely 18, coming on to arguably, definitely the biggest club in the world. It's a huge step up. To break it down, every bit of Arda's rise to this stardom and his eventual move to the Bernabeu. We have usual suspects: Jacob, fellow Turkish resident, correspondent. You can call him whatever you want. Farooq, Abdul Hamid. Unfortunately or fortunately for him, he hasn't left for Nigeria yet. So we have his services, and we are also joined by Farouk's friend and fellow Turkish football expert, Fatih Çağlar. How's it going, bro? Talk to
Uh,
us.
it's fine. Just watching this transfer rumors and so on. And what about you guys?
We have been good, bro. Jacob, Farouk.
Yeah, man, we're all in up spirit. It's all looking good right now. Mbappe might be coming. Just a month ago, like we basically had no transfers, nothing to talk about. But now everything's coming together.
Farouk,
Uh,
nothing.
yeah, we're alive, so we're grateful for that. That's enough for now.
Farouk is a humble person, like he likes to remind everyone about it like quite often. But Fatih, before we actually get into Arda, tell us more about yourself. Farouk has told me you basically are a radio host. You have your own football programs, happening on the side. We have your links in the description below. So if you guys want some in-depth insider info on Turkish football tactics, anything, go check out Fatih's Twitter and Instagram pages. But yeah, man, tell us more.
Yeah, I started doing this like over 1.5 years ago, but I was started with first Twitter. I was just analyzing the games when I was watching with my friends. As they suggested, they told me that I have really a good eye on understanding of the tactics and the structure. So I started with analyzing a couple of games. Especially, I started with League One and Premier League at first, but then I also started with the Turkish Super League, and there is just at least 3 or 4 games in a row per week in Turkey which is going on that you need to serve to the audience, that
Yeah.
I can say, because like there is Fenerbahce, Beşiktaş, Galatasaray, and Trabzonspor. Most of the countries support these teams, so which means like if you just share the Fenerbahce, then rest of the get pissed off. So just 4 games per week consumes too much time, and I have also the masters and like the work. So this is why over the past year I'm more like focusing on the Turkish Super League. I also watch the big games of the Premier League and Bundesliga and League One still, but like my main focus is right now seems on like the Turkish Super League tactical analysis. I also analyze the players, and I also try to reach out to people who works in the team to get to know or to verify the transfer rumors, to get an information. For instance, like in this morning, someone just reached out to me about Mario Icardi case. So he told me that it's also confirmed, and I'm really shocked that he will be the main player in Turkish Super League before he is 30. So it's like it's also interesting league that
For
I can
10 million, right? For 10 million, if
yeah,
I'm not mistaken. Mhm.
yeah, for 10 million. But it's like most surprising because like he is even not at 30 right now. You see the guys, you see the Firmino and others just going to Saudi Arabia. He also had the chance to go there, but he chose the Galatasaray, and it was like surprising thing for me. But I think it's because of the Champions League. But like, well, let's see.
Mm. Yeah, 100%. Morokadi would be a good addition for the Turkish Super League. But let's dive straight in, man. Arda Guler,
Yeah,
someone who is who actually grew up in Ankara, and he played for this is the cue. The team name is Fatih. If you can help me.
really, it's like United of the Youth, or how can I say, like Faruk. It's like Gençler Birliği. It's like
Gençler
Yeah,
Birliği,
it's
right?
Gençler
Right.
So like Gençler is like youths and Birliği is like
Right.
a union, so it's like a union
yeah,
of
it's like
youths.
the
Gençler
youth
Birliği, something like that.
or like
Gençler Birliği. I've read that their biggest achievement was qualifying for the second round of the Europa League or something back in 2004 or something.
yeah, they qualified like maybe more than 12 years ago. They qualified in the UEFA Europa League, like quarterfinals or like one step before quarterfinals. I'm not sure. It has to be something around it. At that time, the team was also good, but right now the team is like genuinely known for raising the most talented youth players. And for example, like I remember Ümit Özat, who also played in Fenerbahce for a long time, and he also played in Cologne as well. He was also one of the players that raised from there. And also İrfan Can, he's still playing in Fenerbahce, and he played in Başakşehir, and he also played a good role in Okan Buruk's squad in Başakşehir when he was playing in Champions League. So the Gençler Birliği is like one of the good academies one of the rare academies that actually I can say, because like in Turkey, the youth talents are not just like as in the Europe or as in the other leagues, they are not that scouted, I can say. So when he was 15, or like his hype came up there, so they wanted to transfer him from Gençler Birliği to Fenerbahce. But I think at that time Gençler Birliği was pretty sure about that he will be really a good talent or famous player, because they also wanted to get a payback from his next sale. They made it like 20 or 25%. So I think they were totally sure about that he will be a really good player, because like the funny story is they have taken every single picture of Arda Guler, like even he was 9, he was 10, he was 11, and most of the pictures are totally iconic. So it's like it even seems like a big project. I don't know. It's like really weird.
Yeah, it almost seems like a conspiracy, right? At this
Yeah.
point.
It's like all the Gençler Birliği stuff were already knew that he was going to be that much star, or I don't know. But like
They had immense faith in him. It's pretty evident.
yeah, it's pretty evident. And after he came to Fenerbahce, he was playing in the youth team, and then they made a professional contract. Emre Belezoğlu, the sportive coach, made the first professional contract with him. And then Vitor Pereira, I think he has a really good eye on scouting players, because like Arda Güler started playing with him, and the transfers that he made, Kim Min-jae, he also
Him
found
and Jay, yeah.
on China as his
Mm.
Arda from the youth squad, because like Ali Koç actually, when Vitor Pereira came, Ali Koç offered Vitor Pereira to send Arda to Rizespor for a year, not to keep it in Fenerbahçe.
Okay.
By the way, Ali Koç is the president of Fenerbahçe, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. My bad. Right.
Yeah. So afterwards, Vitor Pereira really insist on to keep him in the team, and he also said that he will give time to him to play, like for example, the last 20 minutes or even the European games. So his first professional game, it was about against Helsinki in European UEFA Europa League group stage.
Europa League, yeah.
His first game was that, and it was even like 1.5 years ago, or at max it was like 1 year ago. So the achievement that he made, it's like unbelievable. Like his even first professional game was like less than 2 years ago. At first game, I remember that his first touch and his skills of the game vision, that I can say. For example, you just pass to him. Normally, players just tend to pass back or pass as soon as possible. What he did is like he had the eye before he receives the ball. So he already knew that wherever he will be passing the ball before the ball that came onto his foot. So it basically
You could see, his vision was very, very, evident from the very beginning. See, that's what separates the good players from the great players. Yeah, like the great players always see stuff like a couple of steps ahead. Like they have that that vision to see stuff beforehand. But he actually got an assist on debut, right? Basically, in the league. So, man, like if you're getting an assist on your debut, that's basically going by the Jude Bellingham trend. Like where you're just kicking your career on the right note. From the get go. Um, so basically, Arda didn't debut under Jorge Jesus. Yeah, like he debuted under the manager before him.
he actually his first chance with Vitor Pereira,
Mhm.
and right afterwards he played with Jorge Jesus, but like Jorge Jesus wasn't
Too keen on him. Yeah.
too keen on him or to start with him. So actually there were also some concerns came up from himself, because like in his contract there was one other fact. It's like if he plays less than 1,500 minutes, so he will be released for 20 or 12 million or 20 million dollars, that I'm not sure, if he plays like less than 1,500 minutes and so on. So this is why Ali Koç, who is the president of Fenerbahçe club, was really concerned that Jorge Jesus doesn't give a shot to him, so he doesn't get any minutes on the pitch. So which means like at the end of the season, if he just somehow rise and shines, someone will just directly come up and use this advantage and play really cheap amount of money, and they will just get him out of the Fenerbahçe. So this is why Ali Koç and Jorge Jesus made their first, we can maybe call it a fight, or I don't know. So right afterwards, Jorge Jesus had to play with him.
There was also some public pressure, right? Like the people were very angry that he wasn't getting any game time.
Yeah, also fans, like it's because like imagine even the team was really playing good, because like they started in a good way. He brought lots of high strength of the pressure, and also the players just like runnings from to get the ball or to win the ball. He had some kind of different strategy, but there was also too much question mark on his football style. So after they lost their derby game, So the rumors just came up, and fans totally get pissed off.
Mhm.
And then they just started to lose some other points, and then fans just starting to tweet like, okay, it seems like we even going to lose this season. At least we would like to see how Arda plays or how Arda achieves, because like the other players, like even the players that you call as like mature, or you call as like the players in the A team, they are not playing like a shit. So at least give him a chance that we can actually see that how he is playing. So he started to take chances, and as he did with Vitor Pereira term, he was really playing out of this league. Like you even could understand, he's not that fast player. Like I can say, for example, you just give him the ball like Vinicius Junior or Rodrigo. He doesn't go like 1-to-1 and just starts to dribble and goes all the way. He's not that fast player, and I think he ever won't be a that fast player because it's not what his style is. So
It's not part of his game. Yeah.
yeah, it's I think it's totally out of his range or out of his scope. But one thing that it's remarkably that you can understand is like he knows really what he is going to do in his mind before he receives the ball. And actually that you see the scenes, something like, for example, Miyazait, the other midfielder,
Yeah.
search for the area that he will pass. Even Arda is like, bro, it's that's so simple. Just play there. And Arda
Mhm.
just thought where he is going to pass like 8 seconds ago, and he's still trying to find a way that where he'll pass. So it's like it's this league is totally below his level, but
100%.
also yeah,
But
but
also in some ways, like it's impressive where someone who is small in stature, who is, like who isn't as physically imposing, gets to shine in a league that is not very technical but very physical, where if you're not that good enough, you might get bodied every week, right? Like,
yeah, that's also another point. Like for example, you're a promising talent and you're playing in a league that where physique comes before the technique. So you just, for example, going to play the teams that about to relegate from the league. So what they does is they just play the total way the physically. So there is no guarantee that they won't hurt you, or just they won't really made from you might get injured. Like they're also, how can I say, the pitch that you play in Anatolian side or in Anatolian clubs, their pitch shapes are not controlled, or it's like there is no organization of for it. It's like really in a bad situation. Even like you just trying to pass the ball from the ground, the ball is like hikes from like 5 or 6 times before you receive it. So even in there, just by just running by yourself, you
yeah,
might get injured as well, because
injured.
like
Yeah.
there are some players who get injured by themselves when they were just trying to run just by themselves. So that might happen to him as well, and we would never know that how much time will he need for recovery. So this is why I think he also wanted to go. And the second thing is like he also saw that every single year the coach is changing, the playing style is changing, and tactical style is changing, and the other players are not talented as him, or at least a bit close to him. And also he saw that they won't get in the Champions League, or they won't be the first candidate for the championship. So I think this is why he wanted to leave.
Hmm.
Fatima,
Makes
I can ask
absolute
you, like,
sense.
you talk about tactics right now. So, like, Arda is someone that, like, it's like he's quite actually a divisive figure when you talk about his best position, or like what kind of profile of a player he is. And I'm sure, everyone who is listening to us, and myself and Slade and, Jacob, like, we're not exactly sure, like, what to expect from, from Arda. Like, is he going to be a left winger? Is he going to be a right winger? Is he going to be a cam? Is he going to be a false nine? Is he going to be an 8? like, what would you say is like, the best position that Arda, performs?
I think it's like starting from right wing to number 10. To number 10, I give him like 3 or 4 more years, because like he will get something from Modric, and then he will just do his own mix in between right wing and number 10. Because like I think this year he will get a tiny amount of time in Real Madrid, maybe a rotation in La Liga games, or maybe even a one game for 30 minutes in Champions League group stage, like against a weak team, or I can say. But like starting from next year, when the Modric and Kroos leaves, so I think he will tend to take the position of the Modric, and especially he will also try to get himself familiar with right wing of the Real Madrid as well. So it will be second year. On his third or fourth year, I think instead of the right wing, he will tend to play as like the 10, as in the mix of the Modric and Özil. But I see him a bit close to Modric instead of Özil.
Well, why do you think so? Because the comparisons are like in abundance regarding Ozil and Arda. Like, why do you compare him to Modric more than Ozil?
It's like Özil is really perfect at transition, but whenever there is a pressure or there is a high tiki-taka that they don't able to make you find the space on their zone or so on. Out of the ball, Özil is like it's almost nothing.
Yeah, it's useless.
You saw in Arsenal. So out of ball, he's nothing. Like you need to bring him a transition to make him play. But Modric, he's not like that. He plays both with the ball and out
and
of
off the ball. Yeah.
On the ball and off the ball. On the ball, sometimes in Madrid. Off the ball, sometimes in Madrid, and sometimes in a national team of Croatia as well. But like for the Özil, even in German national team, they were just playing something like the transition, and also in Madrid it was the same. So when he went to Arsenal, we saw that what he did off the ball or what he did against the pressure. So it's like it was nothing. And I think Arda is like really good for transition game right now, and I think he will eventually get the strategy of on the ball and off the ball in the same time. So I think he has a capability of doing that as Modric does, and I think he even might get a chance to be a bit better player than Modric in the future.
Wow,
that's high praise. Better
man,
than Modric would fetch you a Ballon d'Or.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy. Actually, Fatih, let me ask you this. So, like, I mean,
before Farooq, hold on one second. We should just go through a few comments because people have been sending in some questions. Dennis the Great says, "Big up everyone. Arda rejected Barcelona for a bigger club." Big up Hassan. He says, "So did Endrick, Brozovic, Kimmich, and Neves." Lol is back in the chat. Big up yourself, man. He says, "Can you ask Fatih on Arda's mentality? Because it seems like the youngsters that make it here, like Vinny, Rodrigo, have great mentality, and those that don't end up at Arsenal or Fiorentina type." Yeah, Fatih, any comments on Arda's mentality?
Arda's mentality means of like his mental strategy or mental weakness or mental strong abilities, or
mentality basically means how adept he is in dealing with adversity. Like how tough is he mentally?
Okay, Fatih, before you answer that, let me just add my question because actually it was exactly that actually. So my question is it's just gonna emphasize what Lolo was asking. I think Hassan or Lolo, I'm not sure who was asking it. So the thing is this: you actually laid out a plan to us that you're talking about 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, right? But what history tells us is that Turkish players, like especially youngsters, don't travel well. Because even when Arda left Turkey, after Arda Turan left Turkey at quite a mature age, he had won the league with Galatasaray and all that. But for example, I'll give you names. Ozan Osyakup, the captain of your club in the past, he went to Arsenal, didn't do jack shit. What's it called? Gökhan Töre literally named the Turkish Messi, went to Chelsea. No one even knew that he went to Chelsea, And even
who is he? I haven't heard of these guys, man.
Even Emre Mor more recently, Emre
Mor, yeah.
Emre Mor was at Dortmund with the likes of Sancho and those guys, and right now where are these guys? And where is Emre Mor? No one remembers that. So
yeah,
why do you think that it goes back to that mentality question? Why do you think that Arda has something that will make him succeed in the place that all these guys have come and failed, especially at Real Madrid as well?
I think to begin with, the youth players who raised in Gençler Birliği, like till the age of 13 or 14, their mentality or their not like, for example, Emre Mor, when he was playing in Borussia Dortmund, was trying to buy a car to the best type models, or he was sending DMs and he was just trying to receive their addresses and send them a free Mercedes. So Arda is 18 right now. So do you see any spark that he is going to do that kind of thing?
That's a valid point.
Emre Mor was also 18, no? Emre Mor was 18, 19.
But see, Farooq, there's a stark difference between Emre Mor going to Dortmund and a guy like Arda who coming to us, because we are a different type of institution. Like, I'm pretty sure nobody within our club's hierarchy is gonna allow Arda to be spending that much on marks and all that stuff. Like, they'll keep him grounded. I'm 100% sure.
Yeah, also the second thing is like, when Emre Mor was there was no coaching style in the team, like peer coaching or peer groups. Like, I don't think that he had a peer like Marco Reus or something like in Borussia Dortmund team that I can say. But in Madrid, it's like pretty obvious that both Kroos and Modric will be his mentors. That especially Modric, it's like even on the press or even in the agreement that Modric will be his mentor. So you are going to the biggest club of the world, like I can say, as a success. So you had the chance to manage by Carlo Ancelotti for 1 year, and you are under Florentino Perez, who is perhaps the richest businessman in Europe, or one of the richest men in Europe. And then your mentor is like the best 10 in the world. So just combine these. Who had that chance? Like the Gökhan Töre, Emre Mor, or Arda Turan. Which one had that chance? I think none of them. Not even. At first, I can tell you this. And in the second part, I think what their actual difference is, like, these players were actually came up in, for example, the Anderson Talisca played in Beşiktaş and then he went to China when he had the chance to go to Manchester United. I think the reason was he raised in a poor street in Brazil, so he was just chasing after the money. So he just rejected Manchester United to play in the Beijing Guan. So can you tell that his main focus or his main dream is to play football, that you can say for Talisca? I don't think so. I think his main idea or his main focus is first money, and money comes before the football and before everything. But whenever we go back and see Arda's mentality, he is strictly focused on the pitch. We didn't see, he was totally hype in Turkey, but there wasn't any kind of rumor that in nightclubs or even the house parties and home parties that he get caught like by the press. Or there are lots of players in Fenerbahce that they actually make those kind of things. So he even can just let himself go with them, let go with the flow with them to the night style, and he might just lose some of his focus and activity. Because imagine that you are 17 and 18, the whole country knows you, so you have a high hype from the girls as well. You have 3 million followers on your Instagram account, and you have remarkable amount of money on your pocket, but you still focusing on your career and focusing on your health and focusing on your body and focusing on your playing style. And even at that time, despite the fact that you know that the players who is playing worse than you plays instead of you, but you still don't lose your focus. So I think when the case for Emre Mor, he just went there, and when they told him that he needs to increase some of his abilities to get a chance to find a position in Borussia Dortmund squad, he just let it go, and then he started to go to parties and other stuff in Germany as well. And the fact that I told you that sending DMs to the models and etc. And if Arda had a girlfriend, or I don't know if they are still together, I think he's also a famous person in, especially I think she's even lives in Madrid, or I'm not sure. He was.
Oh, I didn't know that. So yeah, man, Fatih has some serious insider info. You know, he basically knows his girlfriend. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
I think he was going out with PDM Clara, which is also like I think worldwide famous account. So even in that case, I didn't saw like Arda is like losing himself. He's like he got injured, and we see him on Ibiza beach when he kissing her. Or the fact or these Remor and other ones, or even Arda Turan, he was just standing like he got injured, and like 2 days after, you see that there are 20 Turkish person in Arda's house, but he is injured. Was like they
Right.
are.
Yeah. I completely understand. Completely understand. So, see, this is the contrast that so many of us like we overlook regarding young prodigies. When they get signed up by us specifically, guys like Johnny Kalafat, they have eyes everywhere, right? Like they would definitely go into someone's personal lifestyles. How do they deal with like money? Be it partying, any of that. So they must have seen some sort of maturity. Like if you look at all the recent young signings that we have made, they all have the same, pattern. They seems to be mentally tough, very mentally mature compared to their peers, of the similar age. So
Yeah.
I think Arda is fine in that sense, 100%.
Yeah, I think 100%. And also he takes his on him to leave Fenerbahce as soon as possible, because like the coach of Fenerbahce was actually tried to make him in his first plan for this season, but the family told him that just strongly reject whatever they say, because like they try to keep him in here for one more, and they even told with Madrid, okay, he has really strong communication within his family. He has really strong communication, and also the fact that I told you, like over the past 1.5 years, he was really famous in the country. He's young. He had money to go in the clubs or doing the other stuff as well, but he didn't seem like his mind is at that part, like using his fame to get the girls or just abusing the alcohol
100%.
stuff.
But there is still time, there's still time. It's not like, that is completely blocked away. Madrid is a pretty, happening city, and he'll have, so much more avenues to spend money on. But I'm pretty sure, the guys who look after, our young guns, like they'll keep them grounded, like we said. Tas Aliba
Yeah.
has a question here. Could he be the missing creative piece? Jude, Camavinga, Valverde, Tchouaméni don't seem like to have a lot of creativity. Don't know about Jude. Seems like box to box more, or haven't seen the best of Camavinga in the right position. So basically, he's asking: is Arda Guler more creative than the likes of Camavinga, Bellingham, Tchouaméni?
I think Camavinga and Tchouaméni like more physical also players in means of like comparing to Arda, but Arda is like more has better vision and better football IQ comparing to them, I think,
Mm,
or
fair enough.
improvable or improvable football IQ that I can say maybe. But the other fact is like Chouameni, Kamavinga, and Arda will never be in the same rotation for the same position.
Yeah,
I don't
100%. He
they
he
will.
was just asking, I think, in just an overview, basically. Like
Uh-huh.
we know Chouameni and Kamavinga are not exactly creators, like that's pretty,
Yeah.
obvious. But the other thing that I noticed that is that Guller actually asked, Florentino to, pay more than his release clause so that, Fener gets a bit more
Yeah.
money from his sale. I think that speaks volumes again regarding his personality.
Yeah, it's like what the press told in here. He wanted to be the most valuable Turkish player that has gone from the Turkish Super League to the Europe. The rumors just like in that way, but like I'm really not sure. Maybe it's like the bargain in between Florentino Perez and Ali Koç because they both are businessmen and they are totally rich in their country. Like the Ali Koç, for example, is like one of the ruler president of our school as well. So it's like they're really wide, Europe wide known families as well. So I think maybe it's like it was in between two business people between Florentino Perez and Ali Koç because he's gonna pay more than 10 million for Dzeko. So I think he wanted to get as much as possible from Arda Güler, I think. But there are also some other rumors that saying that Arda wanted to be the most valuable player that has gone from the Turkish Super League to the European leagues because Cenk Tosun transferred about 20 million. So I think he wanted to be the first one. So some other press says that or claims that. And there are also some other.
Even I think Muriqi went to Lazio for like 21 million,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken. But Arda being like, if you don't add the add-ons, like
Mm-hmm.
him being the third most expensive Turkish signing for someone who is so promising, who is only 17, 18, I think in some way it's like a bargain for us. In all honesty, considering the landscape our transfer market is in at this moment in time.
Yeah, but also consider that thing. Like, for example, the first offer was sending him to Castilla for a year. He's in such position that he was able to reject
Yeah, yeah.
to be sending to the Castilla, and he just directly told them that I won't be going somewhere else than Madrid. If you accept, I accept. And you see, Perez and Ancelotti both accepted that thing. They didn't even did it for Denis Ceballos, for example, when he was really hype in that tournament when he was just coming to Madrid, for instance. Like,
That just shows, like how much more self-assured, Arda Guler is, and he's also a little weird in a sense, a little goofy, for someone who's
yeah,
that young. Like I can relate to him, especially the way he came up to Paris, during his presentation, and he's a little socially awkward, which again, makes him a lot more, likable. But also talk to us about his affiliation, his affection towards Alex, the Fenerbahce legend, uh, who he actually, eventually got the coveted number 10 at Fener.
hmm yeah. So basically, Arda seems like Fenerbahce fans starting from his youth. So when the era that Arda was born, so most successful and the best player in Fenerbahce squad was playing 10 Alex de Souza, who was really not the guy who dribbles a lot. Actually, just the opposite. Alex wasn't dribble at all. He just plays the game with his mind. Just sometimes he even just gets in the box to touch with his head. He's also scoring within his assists, but his scorings are like mostly from the free kicks or shooting from the long distance. But like the goals scored by his technical ability, that you can basically see that, for example, he touched the ball in a sense that um, he really, it's not, for example, like just the fast bombing balls as Roberto Carlos was sending. It's like the balls just kick by with his technique, and it just goes the whole way that then it just goes to the just up to in the end. So it was like his scoring, his passing ability, and also he was the most talented key passing player in Fenerbahce at that time. So I think this is why he was also a role model at that time in Fenerbahce or around the Fenerbahce fans. But his weakness was also, for example, uh, when the opposition plays with high amount of pressure and they are even opposing a pressure on the boxes as well. So Alex was off at that time. But instead, the opposite, if the Fenerbahce press against the opposition team, Alex was the key to open for the opening for as an assist or with free kicks and whatsoever from the long distance, or maybe sometimes within his head, just from for the crossings. He was just diving to the box, and he was also good at shooting with head. Even he wasn't that tall. So I think in that era, for the fans or for the youth team players in Fenerbahce, Alex was a top role model. He was wearing the 10. He played for a really long time in Fenerbahce. He is the third most scored or maybe around that a player in Fenerbahce history. There is a statue next to the stadium of himself. So his gaming style of the Arda Guler, that I can say, is like for the transition is likely to seem like Alex de Souza, but it's like, of course, like in much more improved and much more visionary way.
Refined, yeah. Arda Guler is a much more technically sound,
Yeah, and also
player.
a bit than Alex de Souza. Alex was like, even the first season that he came, he was really slow even at that time. He was also,
Yeah.
but it's like Arda is a bit faster, but he's also not that fast in means of like he just
Arda Guler is not a typical winger. It's pretty evident. Like we all know that. Arda Guler is not a guy who's going to beat a couple of men, and go to the byline and cut it back. But Jacob, man, like you have been quiet for the entire hour.
yeah.
Jacob hasn't said a word.
Man,
Is he even in the fucking room?
I am here, but I'm just waiting my turn, man. Like, I just have a bunch of questions for Fatih, but mainly like we talked about how he's so good visionary and he can actually head the ball, even though he is kind of on the shorter side. We talked a lot about his strengths, but do you see any real weaknesses that he has to actually work on?
Weaknesses that I can say, he needs to improve his physique, because like even in Turkish Super League, yeah, it's like mostly to be played within physical strength, but it's like when you have that kind of technique as Arda has,
You can dribble around people.
you can move on, but like the tempo or the physical strongevity, you need more comparing to Turkish Super League. Arda had just like a couple of games for 90 minutes in Turkish Super League, so he will need some extra training to cover all the strength to remain in the pitch for 90 minutes, because like La Liga and Turkish Super League is like inevitably they're in different level. So He will need extra physical trainings for sure. He has physical weaknesses for sure right now. Also, the second fact is like I don't think there's a concern for La Liga in that much sense because like there is not that much teams that might get Madrid in a sense that they play with a high pressure and they may close on the Madrid in La Liga. Maybe Barcelona, maybe Valencia, or maybe if just like there is 3 or 4 teams. So for the rest, I think Arda will find the place for transition, but he needs to be good as well with off the ball. What I mean is like he knows he he should know before, for example, when Militao receives the ball, he should be knowing wherever he needs to be, so he will just get the ball from Valverde or Kroos or Camavinga, or he needs to be also aware of the game because like they will play with really fast. So instead of just watching from the side, he needs to be in the game more. When I say off the ball, I mean that one because like in Turkish Super League, it's like it was super easy for him, and even in national team, actually Turkish national team played against like national teams like Latvia and Wales. So there was no good comparison that I can say. For example, in means of national squads as well, he really played with good players there, but the opposition was totally weak.
Weak, yeah, yeah. So Arda Guler, like from what you're saying, I think I get the gist that like Arda Guler, yes, he has incredible potential. Like he is someone that has a high ceiling, but he hasn't been tested to his limit yet, right?
Yeah,
That is, I think, pretty a solid
yeah.
um, opinion
Uh,
to have. Yeah,
it's like when he was playing against Helsinki, I don't say that Helsinki was like a good or strong opposition, but at least imagine you were just 16 and the game was not in Istanbul, game was there.
away. Mm.
You just started on play as in your first professional game uh, without any mistake or without any anxiety or without losing your concentration. You just even helped with the scorings, and so that's I think that what makes Arda totally different comparing to the other promising stars because like he showed this thing for a couple of times. I say maybe like there were weak oppositions in also national team as well, but like maybe perhaps you see how he scored. Like there was even one goal against Wales. Nobody, nobody got where the ball was going to. But like,
100%. I actually saw it and I was like, that's a top class finish.
yeah,
100%.
it was
Um,
not first came up from him. He has several similar goals, so at least that one even shows something.
100%.
Fatih, I'd like to ask you something though. Like, I mean, because he plays for Jorge Jesus, and we know that Jesus is a very, very pragmatic coach as well, and he plays on the same wing as Ferdi Cardiolo as well. And like Ferdi is like an engine, a dynamo. So like, how would you rate the defensive awareness of Arda? Because I kind of feel like when you play in a pragmatic team, like it kind of shuns or like it's like masks your defensive deficiency or lack thereof. I don't know, what would you say about his defensive awareness as well?
So Arda's defensive awareness, you say, or
Yeah. Arda's defensive awareness.
um, actually Fenerbahce's weakest part was defense because like Jorge Jesus was playing with 3 center backs which were like too slow. Well, there was guy Gustavo Henrique, for example. Like there wasn't any kind of player that he was able to catch or mark. So it was like Fenerbahce's weakest part was like defense. So even at that team, Arda need to be more like step like coming backward to receive the ball and then pass to his teammates, because like there was a huge gap in between the number 6 position of the Fenerbahce, which was playing in Arao. For example, there was 3 center backs and there was Arao in here, and the next teammate was there, so there was huge gap, and the opposition were like pressing in there. So what Arda had to do in that time, he just comes in here and receives the ball and he just then pass. So I think he
So
also
basically, his defensive responsibility was to be an option for a pass, right? Basically.
so he had no other chance in Fenerbahce, but I think in Madrid he won't be considering that much.
Yeah. I mean, like Farouk, like even like that was a very honest question. Like, yes, we have to inquire about, how he is adept defensively, but I don't think that is where he's gonna shine or where he can
Yeah.
actually, portray any of his skill sets.
I don't think that Ancelotti or Xabi Alonso will be expect from him something like in defensive way. I think he will be in like in second
Did
or
Fatih just predict our future coach by saying Xabi Alonso?
Fatih just moves on with the flow. If you haven't figured that out already, Farouk.
I knew Fatih had connections, but I did not know that he had this close connections to even know the future coach. Man.
He had a phone call, before he came on the on the meet on the meets. But yeah, man, before we carry on the conversation, like we have a few comments here. Doris says, hola Fatih, thank you for coming. Hassan says, I think might be a good idea to send Arda out on loan for Bayern. I think it's in regards to Fatih's reference of him needing to bulk up a bit, going off the Kimmich drugs. Yeah, Hassan, that's haram. Astaghfirullah. Lol says, so Asensio light. I hope he's not Asensio light. Right. Another thing I wanted to ask Fatih was that I have read quite a few people claiming that Arda Guler, yes, like he has an eye for a defense spreading pass. Like he is one of a kind in that sense, but he has a tendency to hog the ball too much and like opt for the difficult pass instead of a an easier one. But when I hear that, I almost get reminder of people like Isco, Zidane, who never really wanted to play the easy stuff. So, in your opinion, like, is that gonna hinder his overall performance? Like his over eagerness to play the daring, the dangerous pass always.
but like if you choose to play in teams like Real Madrid,
You
so,
gotta be that confident, right?
yeah, you gotta be that confident. And what makes you to sign a contract with Real Madrid at the age of 18?
Mm. There you go. Any other comments that you have, Farouk and Jacob,
Oh yeah.
regarding Arda?
So we hadn't, as Real Madrid fans, we hadn't heard about him since the last 2 weeks. But Fatih, you said that he was getting scouted by all the major European teams. Did Barcelona actually stand a chance, or did any other teams actually try to sign him before we did?
Barcelona and Sevilla, and I think one other from Europe, but I'm not sure. I don't think that Ajax was aware, but like they didn't try to approach. I think there was one other team in Bundesliga, but I don't remember. Like there were just 3 or 4 for sure. The Sevilla from La Liga as well, and Barcelona. Even Deco in person, he traveled to Istanbul to speak with the president and the family of the player, and with the player as well, to meet in Istanbul. They gone out for lunch or dinner. I'm not sure. That it's like with Deco, so he just tried to explain his plan for the Barcelona. But I think what I heard is like he wasn't happy what the Deco told him. So this is why
You know what happened, Fateh. You were concerned about confused whether it was dinner or lunch. I'm pretty sure by the way it turned out, it was some random Chinese takeout, bro. You know, that Deco, served Arda Guler and his family. So, bro,
Bro, that's all
I think
Barca
that
could
was the
afford,
reason it
man.
didn't work out.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, Barca has to cut costs. What easier way than some Chinese ramen, to sort it out. But Fatih, Fatih, it's been an absolute pleasure, bro.
I have a question.
any
I have a question before you wrap it up. So, Fatih,
go
like,
on,
I
go.
mean, we've seen a lot of people, a lot of players from Turkey, and we know like Turkish people are crazy about football. Will you go as far as saying that Arda Güler is the biggest prospect to ever leave Turkey? I know like there is also Yalçın, there was Arda Turan, there was Semi, there was a lot of players. So I don't know if the guys know about Yalçın, but maybe that might be Sergen Yalçın might be something you guys might want to check up. He was a very very famous and talented player in Turkey. But would you say like Arda Güler is the greatest export to leave
Yeah,
Turkey?
for example, Sergen Yalçın at that time scouted by Bayern Munich and the other Barcelona and Bayern Munich as well when he was playing. They were really about to, for example, approach to him to sign the contract. But whenever they get the rumors about his personal life and his nightlife or with his addictions, so they just left that way. But if Sergen was like a player with the same mentality as Arda has right now, in means of the personal life, taking a good care or avoiding this gambling and smoking and the nightlife addictions, I think I will be in between choosing the Sergen and Arda. In talent, if we speak with talent, if you speak about the talent, I think Sergen Yalçın already proved himself in a long way, even in Turkish national team against Germany or so on. So we need to see Arda, but I think in career-wise, Arda is already gone through them all. But like in means of talent and the capability or the capacity, I think maybe Sergen Yalçın or Arda Güler, but like one of them is first in means of talent, but in means of career, if Sergen would choose Barcelona first, that I can say, because like there's more chance of nightlife there. Sergen will directly go to Barcelona instead of Madrid, because like the first thing that he will just for sure he will just check is like, is there a good style of gambling? Is there a good style of nightclub? So can he attract the woman who lives in Barcelona? But like
At this point, I gotta remind our listeners that Fatih is a Turkish vice expert. His football expertism is on the side. This is his bribery bribery job. But yeah, man, it's
but
interesting hearing all this.
yeah, for Sergen Yalçın, it still continues. Like he's like more than 50 years old right now, and he's a head coach, and he became a champion with Besiktas. At that time, he was still going out with Ukrainian top models
Wow.
who are like 12,
I'm telling you, it's not easy at 50.
24 years old. He was like 50, but they were just his girlfriend like around 22, 23, 24.
See,
He was
that's why. You
yeah.
got to understand that you necessarily don't need the looks. If you have enough money, it's
Yeah,
easier.
and also even overweighted, by the way.
I've seen him. I've seen him. Right. Saliba says it's a bit sad to hear that our new right back isn't very good on defense. Kama left back, Arda right back would have been sick. I forgot we got Jude for the right back role. Never mind. If you don't know, Fatih, Carlo has this fetish for playing midfielders as wing backs.
Yeah.
And if Arda gets played at right back, he's done. He's finished. He's finished.
I think Argelotti will just take Arda with himself to Brazil national team. Maybe in that case,
Maybe. Well,
Brazil plays as defense, so it's like
100%. The my other question was, before we kind of slowly wrap this up, Arda's like people were asking, like, so the real comparison you made him is with Modric, yeah, rather than Ozil. Um, but when I see Arda play, he's more like suited to someone right behind the striker. Modric was obviously some sort of an SS or a cam earlier in his career as well. So, in your eyes, like, do you think that he has the maturity to play deeper in midfield as well someday?
Uh, I think yes, it because like um, he is really talented and he is the one who can make these key passes, and he needs to resolve the connections in between the zones and the key passes, and he needs to be like leading and ruling the game, for example ruling the positions. So in that case, I don't see any reason why he wouldn't be the same as with Modric. And this year he has a huge chance, because like even right now we see that Arda changed the direction of the position in Fenerbahce, and sometimes even with key passes he is really a good assist. And also as Modric, from the long distance, he just his ability to shoot like really dangerous shoots. So it's also pretty like Modric style. And I think when he comes to the age of 21, 22, I think he will be a player like of Modric style. He was coming to deep, because like his physical and game vision will already be improved in that level in Real Madrid for sure. So I think he will be in that schedule or that position, because like Ozil came pretty later than Arda
When he was
Güler.
23, 23, 24.
Yeah, and he was playing in Bundesliga, where the hype of the term was also transition as well. So he came with hype of transition, and he was lucky that he was playing with the managers who loves the transition, and you're playing in one of the most famous teams in the world, or even the most successful one. So there are just two or three teams that have a chance to close you down on pressure. So your weaknesses just didn't come up that much. But like in Arda's term, it's much more difficult. We know your strong specialties, but like you also need to be in sense of with changing style of the football, with changing style of the rapid passing and off the ball positioning. You also need to be in the deep lying, because like you have an ability to game vision and football IQ and the key passes. So I think he will be like more the Modric one.
Hopefully, man. Hassan says, yeah, there's rumors that Arda has cut his holiday short and will join the team tomorrow instead of the 20th. I hope you're true, man. I think Jacob just confirmed that's a legit source. It shows he has incredible maturity, and the way he says, like, I want to be a legend at Real Madrid. It's not easy to say that. It's not easy to say that with conviction in your presentation. We could just see how nervous he was, but he just mustered enough courage to actually say that. It takes a lot. It takes a lot from an 18-year-old. But Farouk and Jacob, any more questions for Fatih?
No, man, I feel like I've gone on a Arda Guler masterclass. I know a lot more about him than ever before.
100%.
Yeah, man. No, nothing on my side, man.
Saliba says here needs to learn that new position, man. No time to joke around. Yeah. Arda Guler, like he's eager to learn. That's very evident.
I also see that he is eager to learn. This year with Modric and Ancelotti, with a bit team style, and also starting with the summer of 2024 with the Xabi Alonso, I think he will be like more tend to be playing like in position of the Modric or the right wing. It will depend on actually what Xabi also sees, because like Xabi also tracks him really closely, so he's also aware of what Arda, the ability of the Arda as well. I think he will get the scouting reports of this year about Arda as well, I think.
You know what? At this point, I think Fatih is a time traveler because no way, no way in hell he is actually being so confident in keeping on mentioning that Xabi Alonso is going to be the next coach. If he is actually signed as the next coach, Fatih will be our special guest for that. Xabi Alonso special. Hopefully. But we think it's going to be Zidane more likely. Oh,
Zidane,
Saliba. Go on, Fatih.
I think Zidane doesn't want to work that much, and I think they just need to release a good project to a bit younger manager. So I think Xabi just came up to my mind, so this is why. But also there are like press guys from L'Equipe and some stuff like that. They just also have released that the Xabi Alonso will be the next coach to replace the Carlo Ancelotti as well. So, but yeah, and also this is why even they were just claiming that Arda will play in Leverkusen for 6 months and they will just travel to Madrid together then.
Oh yeah, I read that. But still, man, it's hard to truly pinpoint that Xabi Alonso. It's too early, in my opinion. I don't think it's as clear cut. Saliba has a question for Fatih. Can you ask our guest if there are any rumors in Turkey of a potential Hakan Şükür links to Real Madrid after Joselu? Şükür, yeah, my bad. After Joselu, we might need Şükür, yeah. Hakan Şükür. Okay, my bad. Because I just go crazy with these pronunciations, apologies.
Tass is taking a piece with us today, man, honestly.
Is he that bad? Because I don't know who he is.
Hakan Şükür stopped playing, I think, in 2003 or 2004, something like that.
What?
The case about him is like
he was a legendary Turkish striker, actually. Like
okay.
You know, when they in Turkey, like 6 years ago.
Right. Saliba, you fucking sly. Anyway.
Hakan was like one of the supporters of the group.
Right.
So he is now living in States because like he ran away from Turkey. He has nothing left in Turkey, and I don't think that he even still held the citizenship. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Oh, he was part of the group. He was part of the coup in 2016.
Sorry.
Was he part of the coup in 2016?
Yeah, he was like in means of the supporters. Yeah, he was the part of.
Oh wow! I actually did not know that.
He is the one of the most wide famous supporter of the Gulen. It's like.
Oh,
wow, I actually never knew that. Actually, I just knew like Şükür was a fantastic striker and people loved him. So
why he left the country, like right before what actually happened, happened, because otherwise he wasn't able to travel
afterwards. Yeah,
he is also banned from Turkey. If just he somehow tries to travel here, he will directly arrested and sent to prison. Even like, for example, in Netflix Turkey, Fatih Terim
yeah.
Documentary about his life.
Yeah, I watched it actually.
When they won the UEFA Championship, Hakan Şükür was the most scoring player. There was no scene of the Hakan in the entire documentary because it's for.
I mean, man, I just thought Fatih Terim is a combustible character. He fights with everyone, so I just assumed that he was not on speaking terms with Şükür. That's why he wasn't in the whole thing. But I did not know he was a Port Scorpion actually. Interesting.
Well, there you go. Some insider outsider info if I'm not mistaken. But still, man, it's been an absolute pleasure, Fatih. Again, friendly reminder to everybody listening in, also watching us live. Fatih's social links are in the description below. He is a self-proclaimed Turkish football expert. I've checked out a couple of his diagrams and stuff. It's pretty intricate. It's pretty detailed. He's available on Instagram and Twitter as well. So check him out, hit him up, give him a follow. It'll be much appreciated. Also on Arda, the boy said he wanted to be a legend with us. I hope he emulates what Barcelona. I mean, not Barcelona. What Marcelo did with Roberto Carlos, like how basically Marcelo broke onto the scene and, like left Roberto Carlos, legacy in the dust. I hope he does that. I hope he surpasses what Ozil did for us and, like establish himself, to the European stage. It's a big step up for him. I hope, he has the mental fortitude, and also the determination, persistence to, succeed with us, which is going to be a pretty mighty challenge. Much love for the panel again, Farooq, Jacob. Again, it's been an absolute pleasure. Also, much love for our audio listeners. Also making the previous special last night a moderate success. Like I'm hoping the plays are gonna spike up a bit more. But again, friendly reminder. Our Jude special from earlier on in the season, and also the previous transfer special where we discussed Hakimi, Guler, Mbappe, etc. Thanks for making those two EPs as one of the top 6 most played EPs of all time. It's a truly humbling achievement for us because we never expected. What is the echo coming from?
It's gone.
We never expected. Yeah, we never expected a preseason special to be that well received. Again, man, much love for the love. We do this with so much sacrifice because like we are from different time zones and whatnot. We have to juggle around a lot of stuff to actually make this happen. So yeah, keep supporting us, keep tuning in, smash the like. I think just 15 odd away from 1K. Make it happen, people. Until next time, Ala Madrid.
Hala Madrid.
Thank you, people, and thank you for the invitation. It was really actually nice meeting with you, with the Real Madrid fans. Thank you for the invitation, and hope to see you soon, guys.
Pleasure is the same, Fatih. Have a good one.